Having fairy godparents is quite the big responsibility, and entrusting 10-year-old Timmy Turner with these godlike powers couldn't possibly go wrong, right? Well, Season 1 explores just that, and gives us a good variety of wishes that make Timmy look both crafty and capable, and also kinda dumb and irresponsible. Today, we're gonna take a look through every Season 1 episode of The Fairly OddParents and rank Timmy's role from peak to bleak. The big problem. Timmy's sick and tired of being made fun of for his short king status. He's bullied at school, the friggin' gym teacher assigns him to be the ball, and even his parents laugh in his face for not being old enough to go see a movie. So he makes a wish that, at the time, was pretty darn justified. He wants to become an adult. I think most kids wish that at one point or another, and this first episode using that as a premise is genius. It's just too bad he grew up to be a loser. Now, in his defense, he wishes he was older, not freaking 50 and balding, so Cosmo and Wanda kinda did him dirty. Had he been more specific and wished to be the more jacked adult he imagined himself to be, there wouldn't be any plot, so it makes sense. As is, though, just about everything goes wrong for him, and he can't make wishes anymore because only kids are allowed to, and this ain't it. He does find a loophole in the rules, though. If he acts like a kid, for some reason, it allows him to make more wishes, and after ending up crying in a jail cell, he gets a quick wish off to be a kid again, and that's that. Finding a way out of the awful situation he was in is pretty darn clutch, and even that initial wish, I can't blame him for, so he's going right here. Power Mad. Timmy wishes for a super challenging VR video game, and adds in that it's a
game that you can't wish yourself out of!
He goes to use the bathroom, comes back, and his friends are trapped in the game. But rather than wishing for them to come out, which technically should be allowed, he said you can't wish yourself out, but I guess that'd be too easy. Instead, he hops into the game himself to help him win, and makes Cosmo and Wanda stall Vicky so the power doesn't surge and make them all die. Within this game, Timmy goes Super Saiyan. He collects coins to make wishes that get him out of rough situations, and even sacrifices himself to save Chester and AJ, which was really unexpected, and makes him look even more like a hero. Now, he does come back because his score gave him an extra life or something, and he's the one to defeat the final boss and get them all out of there. It's an incredibly peak look for him. Spaced Out. After watching their favorite cartoon, Crash Nebula, Timmy, AJ, and Chester start imitating the show, and when the two gang up on Timmy, he wishes for more firepower, and they give him an actual suit from the show, which sends a deadly beam right at his friends and would have just offed them if they didn't jump out of the way. Then he wishes for a, quote, alien monster to play with. I mean, he's just asking for trouble at this point. He puts the entire planet in danger, because said alien is royalty, and the parents are coming to save him and decimate the Earth. So Timmy heads to the alien mothership, overcomes the easiest trials of all time, and gets them to peacefully take back their son. With two poorly thought out wishes and a cakewalk of a solution, this one's going bleak. Transparent. Timmy brings in a living dinosaur for show and tell, and after it runs off, he doesn't bother going after it, and instead of just wishing the dinosaur was gone, he has his friends go after it the following morning. And when Mr. Crocker asks to meet with his parents, he decides to have Cosmo and Wanda pose as them, which, is a solid idea, but instead of trying to look like these guys, they go in as themselves in human form, which doesn't make any sense. They also don't know how to act like humans, and it almost gets them caught a handful of times, but all of Crocker's traps end up hurting the principal instead, and things resolve themselves without much help from Timmy. I would go bleak with this one, but both of the negative ideas were Wanda's idea. She points it out both times, so I can't pin it all on him. He's dumb enough to listen, and that's really it. A wish too far. Instead of being made fun of for being so small like he was in the first episode, now he's being up and ignored by the popular kids, which only stings because of the massive crush he has on Trixie. As all wishing rules state though, you can't interfere with love, but you can wish for a bunch of expensive stuff to win over your peers in the most shallow way possible, so that's what he does. Apparently he makes too many wishes in too short of a time though, because he's taken a fairy court and loses the godparents for being an ungrateful jerk. First off, since when are there wishing limits? And wasn't that kid back in episode 1 literally abusing his fairy? Continuity who? Losing his fairies does lead him to the realization that he wants friends that like him for him. So yada yada yada, he does the right thing, gets the fairies back, the end. There's not much at stake here compared to previous episodes, and had he not been a jerk to Cosmo and Wanda, the whole thing could have been avoided, so kinda bleak if you ask me. Tiny Timmy. He's bored by some microbiology project Crocker's got him on, so he's shrunken down in this sweet-looking robot to make the research more interesting. It starts off alright, too. They're wandering through Vicky's snacks, and Timmy's nice enough to give his fairies the rest of the day off while he works on his project. But after Vicky destroys his parents' expensive vase, she starts trashing the place and plans to pin it all on Timmy, but his shrinking suit can't go back to normal size to stop her, so he figures out where his fairies are inside the babysitter and goes in after them. However, they get out, so Timmy can't rely on their help this time, and instead breaks into Vicky's brain, turns up the kindness switch, and makes her start to clean up the house. After the brain people catch on though, he navigates through her body, avoids an army of antibodies, and gets to the vocal cords, where he gets off a wish, returns to normal, and restores the vase just in time.
Boring conversation. Can't focus.
But then he does that. But that's okay, because they had insurance on it and made like $50,000. He didn't know that though, so he royally screwed up. But the rest of the episode has him accomplish almost everything without aid from wishes, and you can't really blame the conflict on him this time around, so he's pretty high tier. From wishes, and you can't really blame the conflict on him this time around, so he's pretty high tier. Father Time. Timmy wishes for heat vision to help him finish his chores. You might be asking how that's helpful? It's not. He goes around decimating the house and destroys his dad's prized trophy from 30 years ago, which gave birth to this iconic meme.
This is where I'd put a trophy. If I had one!
Instead of wishing for the trophy to get restored, or even just wishing himself back 10 minutes to stop himself from doing that, he time travels all the way back to the 1970s to stop his dad from winning the race in the first place. One of the dumbest ideas of all time, and it's all thanks to Cosmo. He meets his young dad and successfully stops him from winning, which changes the course of history and makes his dad become the evil dictator of modern Dimsdale. And if it weren't for the hippie Cosmo and Wanda, he would have been cooked several times here. But he does make it back in time to correct things, and even wins the race for his dad, albeit using that heat vision from earlier because he's slow as heck. Even if he shows some capability by getting things back to normal, both of the major wishes here were some of the most dense we've seen from the guy, so it's going right here. A partnership. Cosmo and Wanda get in a big fight on their anniversary, and it sends Cosmo a packin' back to his mom's place, and she's never liked Wanda and is trying to drive a bigger wedge between them. Timmy's not really the main character here, it's the relationship between the fairies, and while he does come along and try to help out, it either gets him turned into a toilet or has a missed arrow get Cupid to fall for Cosmo's mom. So while his efforts are in vain, none of this is his fault for once. He doesn't make a dumb wish or anything, and instead plays a decent little mediator role, so by definition, it kinda has to go in can't blame him tier. Chin up. Timmy goes to a comic book convention, sees the dude they brought to imitate his favorite hero, and is rightfully disappointed, so he wishes the real Crimson Chin would show up. When he appears, he sees all the people dressed up as his villains and springs into action to go kick some tail, and Timmy wishes for his powers to be gone right before anyone gets hurt. He then breaks the one rule and tells the Crimson Chin that he's a fictional character, before sending him back into the comic book, which turns the next issue into a book full of him crying his eyes out. So Timmy hops into the comic book and tries to cheer him up, taking on his own superhero form, Cleft the Boy Chin Wonder. He still can't get the Crimson Chin out of his rut though, so he goes to take on the villains himself, and gets easily captured. But after a soppy little speech, Chinny gets his chin back, saves Timmy, and the two work together to stop the bronze kneecap, with Timmy having some decently clutch moments. I know the Chin's crisis was kinda Timmy's doing, but he was being overdramatic, and Timmy still went in, turned things back to normal, and became a canon part of his favorite comic book, which has to go up in peak. Dog's Day afternoon. Vicky brings her dog over while babysitting Timmy, and she makes him do a bunch of chores for the dog and basically be its servant, even giving the canine a juicy steak and Timbo a TV dinner, which he doesn't even get to eat. This gives Timmy the genius idea to switch bodies with the dog, which in itself is dumb, but since dogs can't speak English, he can't wish to revert it, and Cosmo and Wanda can't help him, which only becomes urgent because the dog's getting neutered the following day, so he's cooked. Now, he does escape the vet in this dog form and meets back up with his human body, but it's Wanda that comes up with the solution to bait the dog with an irresistible female poodle. It works, they switch back, and then Timmy's a straight up jerk to the dog and abuses it a bit before it gets taken back to say bye-bye to its cojones. Just unnecessary, dude, you already won. It's a bad look all around for him. It's a poorly thought out wish, and he doesn't solve the problem. Bleak. Dream Goat. All the kids in Dimsdale are obsessed with a goat named Chompy that's apparently a town legend, but he looks wildly depressed in captivity, so Timmy wishes he was free to roam wherever he wants. Once he's gone, Vicky gets blamed for the goat napping, and he's labeled a hero for trying to save him, which gets him all kinds of special treatment by doing absolutely nothing. He feels immense guilt for it though, and it causes him to start dream wishing for all sorts of weird stuff that not only puts himself in danger, but also the entirety of the town. So he comes to his senses, tells the truth, then gets chased by an angry mob and corners himself.
Well, you lived a good life, right?
I'm only 10!
I said good, not long.
Thankfully though, Chompy comes to the rescue, and Timmy lives to see another day. He had great intent in letting an animal be free, but not telling the truth until things escalated, putting the world in danger, and not being able to save himself in the end, all point to this one going in Bleak tier.
When we hit the pothole, I worried we'd be stranded for hours.
World in danger, and not being able to save himself in the end, all point to this one going in Bleak tier. The same game. Timmy goes into the local dentist's yard to get his ball back, and the dude won't give it to him, and instead makes fun of his jagged buck teeth. From there, he could have wished for a new ball, he could have wished for perfect teeth, or for the dentist to have teeth like his, but he settles on wishing for everyone to look the exact same. Because of that wish, no fairies are able to find or identify their kids anymore, so they start to explode from an overflow of magic, and if Cosmo and Wanda don't find Timmy in this grayscale world in time, everything goes boom boom. Stakes are definitely here, and Timmy's able to find the one substance that has color in this world, and he makes himself his iconic hat so Wanda can find him right in the nick of time and put things back to the way they were. Everything here is his fault. That initial wish was dumb as rocks, but he is pretty crafty in the end, and is the reason all the fairies in the universe didn't explode, so making up for it in the end will put him in kinda dumb tier. Christmas every day. Just like that first episode, this is a thought that's passed through every kid's mind. Christmas is the best day of the year, why not have it every single day? Well, this episode explores that in a really fun way. Timmy's toy haul gets smaller and smaller as more and more Christmases stack, and after a couple of weeks, the world is in shambles because of his wish. But since so much magic power is being sent to Santa to make the big day happen, Cosmo and Wanda can't wish everything back to normal, which causes the other holiday mascots to show up, kidnap the fairies, and set out to kill Santa Claus. Timmy's left alone, and uses some of his gifts to set out on a quest to the North Pole. He rides a snowmobile across the continent, gets all the way to Greenland, then hitches a ride with the crooked holiday folk to stop him. He uses Cosmo and Wanda's crowns to flatten the tires on the bus, then runs off to get to Santa first, which he does achieve, and he gets him a quick warning message before trouble shows up. Cue a holiday brawl, with Santa being tied down and dead to rights, but Timmy jumps in the way, and soon after, all the kids he inspired across his journey show up to knock some sense into these guys. They don't know how to make time move as normal though, so Timmy comes up with the solution. If they all write letters to Santa asking for it to be the day after Christmas, he can use his magic to grant that wish and save the world, and he does exactly that. Once again, Timmy causes the problem to begin with, but the wish isn't nearly as stupid as some other ones, and he outweighs it by a ton with the lengths he goes to in order to undo it. Honestly, it's the most capable look he's had this season, and makes for a peak final placement. And there you have it. And for more classic Nickelodeon content just like this, let me know down below which franchises you want to see more videos about, whether that be SpongeBob, The Fairly OddParents, Jimmy Neutron, whatever it may be. And while you wait for a new video, check out the Nickelodeon playlist that's on screen now. It's got a bunch of content just like this, and I know you'll enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching, I'll see you later.